for a service business, and it's a kind of a similar process. Basically, they just have direct and indirect. They don't have materials for service business, so they have direct costs, which is really their direct labor, and then they have indirect costs, which is everything else. So this would be salary and wages, that kind of stuff. There's no direct material. They generally are just going to allocate all of these indirect costs in a very similar way with that predetermined overhead rate. So based on percent of direct labor hours, or a percent of direct labor dollars, something like that. You see the direct labor dollars a lot. And then the same process as that predetermined overhead rate. Here's what I think my indirect costs are going to be, and here's how much I think I'm going to have, and so then I just allocate the jobs based on that. Very similar process. They put a little section on pricing decisions in here. This is not exclusive to service businesses, so I'm not sure right here where it is. But basically, you're either a price setter or a price taker, okay, depending on your level of competition. If you are a price setter, you have some control, people are willing to pay more for your product, you've set yourself apart for whatever reason, you take your total cost and you add in your target profit, the profit you want to learn, and that's the price you charge to the consumer. Okay, it cost me $20. I want to add a profit of $7. I charge them $27. Which again, if you don't understand how much it costs you, then you're not getting the profit you think you're getting. If, however, your product is very similar to other people's, people aren't willing to pay more for yours, then you work at the opposite. You kind of have to take whatever the market price is because people aren't willing to pay more for yours. So you say, all right, here's how much I can charge. Then you subtract off your target profit, and this is your target cost. So I have to find a way to bring my costs within this number. So rather than targeting the price, you're going to target the cost. You're like, here's how much I can charge. There's my revenue, minus here's how much I want to earn in profit. So I have to find a way to make my costs come into that. So those are the two opposite ends of the extreme. And we'll kind of talk about those a little bit later. But again, all of these things, you have to understand how much it costs you in order to set this right. Okay, last one. This is a service business. So this is a consulting firm. They expect to have $45,000 in indirect costs and bill customers for 6,000 hours. Direct labor is $75 per hour. So first is the predetermined overhead rate. So that again is the estimated indirect cost, which is $45,000, divided by the billable hours, which is 6,000. And so I get $750 per hour is how much I'm going to do. If they billed a customer for 75 hours, what was the total cost of the job? So I would have the direct labor, which is 15 hours times $75 per hour. And then I would have 15 hours, I would have my indirect costs, which would be 15 hours times $750. So this would be 1125. And this would be 112.5. So the total cost for the job is 1,237.50. So it's much simpler than the manufacturing, right? I just got labor and everything else is just a percent of the labor. So if they want to earn a profit equal to 60% of the job, how much should they charge? So we would have the cost, which is 1,237.50, plus the target profit, which is 60% of that. So 60% of that, is 742.50. I just did that in my head. It's not like I had these numbers ready ahead of time. I just quickly did that. I didn't do anything in my head. So you add those two together and you get 1980, which is how much I am going to end up charging the customer for this job. So similar process with the predetermined overhead rate, but much simpler. It's just the labor and then everything else. So that is basically chapter 19.